Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 27, Email List.
Dun, dun, dun.
Does this sound familiar?
Oh my God, I have so much to do today.
Don't forget to breathe.
But I have almost 400 emails in my inbox and 30 phone calls to make.
Have you looked into getting a virtual assistant yet?
Oh, and I need to schedule all my social media posts.
Did you drink anything today?
I had coffee.
Did you eat today?
Did I mention coffee's a bean?
This is Small Biz Life.
Hey guys, welcome to Small Biz Life. My name is Kristen Ingram.
And I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And your opening sounded really ominous.
I think a lot of people have an ominous fear of email lists.
I don't know why.
I don't know either.
But today,
I have a lot of fun through email.
Yeah, today we're going to break down the email list. Why you need one, how to get one set up, and then once you have one, what to do with it.
Yes.
Let's start off with why this is important for all businesses, because I think a lot of brick and mortar businesses, a lot of like non-online businesses don't think they need an email list. So I think this is important for all types of businesses, not just, I mean, if you're an online business, clearly you have, this is critical if you don't have an email list. For a brick and mortar business, a consulting firm, freelancers, you really need to have an email list because this is the only way to develop one-on-one conversations on a mass scale. And I know that sounds really weird, one-on-one conversations on a mass scale, but this allows you to talk, one-on-one with everyone that's on your list and send it out with one click.
Yes.
That's why we say mass scale. And this is really the only way that you can do this is by having an email list. Another big issue with people when they're building their businesses is they're like social media, right? Look at how long you've been on social media and look at the changes that you've seen.
Just over the Facebook in the past 2 years changed dramatically.
Well, and think about, there was MySpace first, right? And that was really huge and it was gigantic and that was kind of going, that's gone.
Yeah.
Then, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got Pinterest, you've got Google Plus, which is kind of, Google's trying to keep that one alive. You've got things like Ello, which when Ello first came out, everybody was like, Ello, and then, Ello, goodbye.
YouTube, Vine, I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah. Periscope, Blab. I mean, there's so many different channels out there.
Like, if you're unsure, go Google a list of social medias.
Oh, there's tons of them.
There's some very niche ones. There's some larger ones. I mean, there are all kinds of social media.
And the problem with that is that where people gravitate towards changes. You've got different people in different social media channels. You have social media channels that, go up in popularity and down in popularity. You have some that just go away. And not everyone is on all of them.
Yes.
Some people aren't on any of them.
Not even, lots of people are not in a meaningful way on any of them.
And, we had said in an earlier episode when we were talking about social media that there is a very large percent of the population, almost 50%, that will never like a page. No matter what, they will never like a page.
Yep, it's just not what they do. They hop in, they possibly go through the photographs of friends and family, and then they leave.
Yeah. And so if you're using social media as your main strategy to grow your business, you have to realize that there are a lot of people that you are never going to capture with that.
And one of the things to remember is many social media marketers love to talk about the term of a home base or something similar to that. And they're typically referring to your website. But you got to think of email as it's the heart of your home base because it's the one thing that you can control and reach out to a lot of people quickly. And depending on how you do it, reuse all of the emails.
Right. And creating an email list is really easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Building it takes some work, but creating it is really easy. It's actually, I think it's easier than trying to create a Facebook page, trying to, signing up for Facebook is easy. Signing up for Twitter is easy. Utilizing it as a path to sales is a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Emails let you build relationships with people.
Yeah.
Because studies have found that an email box is a very personal thing for people.
Mm-hmm.
And if they allow you into their email, there's a level of trust there. And you can use your email content to build up that trust and build relationships.
The best way to think about it is everyone hates spam. And essentially, they're telling you as an entrepreneur that they will not consider messages from you to them as spam. Now, that can change depending on the types of messages you send them. But in general, they're giving you permission into a spot where they don't want to be overwhelmed with stuff. They want to get your content.
It's almost akin to, somebody giving you their phone number, right? That's a very private thing for people to give out their phone number, and they're trusting you with that information. So you have to make sure that you honor that trust. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But email lists have the highest sales conversion other than like direct face-to-face marketing.
From an online standpoint. And from like, we've taken several courses on different approaches to online marketing. And the one constant on all of them is email lists. And the second thing is why? Because ultimately, if you want to attract sales from online, it is by far the most efficient. And to the point where I believe this was Tim Grahl was saying he'd rather have an author with 1,000-person list that was very engaged than a author who had 100,000 very engaged Twitter followers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the conversion rate for email is much higher than social media. And the great thing with email is that it gets into their email box, and it's there.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm taking a couple days off from Facebook. They're never going to see your post.
Or they're taking a 30-day challenge to leave Facebook.
And the speed at which Twitter moves is just incredibly fast.
And just as a little warning, too, I mean, Twitter might not be in the best place moving forward. I mean, there's been some struggling. They've stopped growing. As social media, that could end up reducing funding coming into them. And since they don't really make a lot of money through their own side, Twitter might not be in the same place in 10 years as it is today.
Yeah. So, and who knows what new social media platforms will take over. If you look at Facebook in the last couple of years, Facebook has done a lot to control what shows up on people's walls. And in order to increase their revenue, they are throttling down who sees Facebook page posts to encourage people to spend advertising dollars to get things out to the people that follow their page. And we've talked about that in the episode on Facebook pages and groups and profiles, that a lot of people are turning to groups now. The problem is you can't advertise out of a group.
Yeah.
So, but if you have your email list and you're working on building that and curating that and building relationships, that will be more powerful than anything else you can have. Email is not going away. I don't care what anybody says. Email is not going away. We all get more email than we ever have before. But the people that stay in my email box, the people I don't subscribe from, are the ones that deliver value. Okay, so there are people that have Facebook pages and I don't pay attention to their Facebook pages anymore, but I'm still on their email list.
Yeah.
And I enjoy what I get from their email list. So, think about what that can do for your business. Okay. And this is kind of part of your overall marketing strategy. You still need some social media.
Yeah.
But use social media to drive people to your website so they sign up for your list. And that's kind of the thing, even when you talk to people that are doing Facebook marketing, they are not using Facebook to drive likes to their page. They're using Facebook ads to drive people to their email opt-in.
Yeah.
Because email opt-in is going to generate more revenue than likes on a Facebook page.
The way I like to think about it is the contact you get with people on social media, think of it as your cold call. It is the time that you've approached them where you've never met them before, and you're just trying to let them know that you exist. And some people really enjoy those mediums, and some of them will want to engage with you in those mediums. That's why presenting content there is so important. Email is your second contact with them, and maybe the third and fourth. It's multiple contacts with the same person. And I believe, what is it, like 7 touches you need with a person before they actually will buy from you. And so social or email lists can be most of those touches. If they go to your website, unless there's a specific link that draws them there, they might never go back. But if you capture them in your email list, then you can actually reach out to them even though they're not going to your website, even though Facebook isn't showing them that or that current post on your Facebook page. Social media is nice. Websites are essential, but for a website plan to work, you need email so you can get the repeated contacts with people so you can develop, once again, that relationship. You got, I think this might be Brendan, but you got to have stark raving fans. You got to have these crazy fans who just want to help you. And, we get a lot of we have a good solid base of people who really help us out. And we appreciate that. It makes us want to deliver more content. It makes us want to get together every Sunday or Saturday and record an episode for just those people. And there could only be one at this point. I would not care. But we have so many that we actually love to engage with that is tremendous. And you really start building relationships with these people over time.
Yeah, I completely agree. The theory of the 7 touches, your Facebook or your Twitter, is kind of the first touch that you have. Then, you're getting them to opt into your email list. You're delivering value through the email list. You might do webinars, but again, that's going out to your email list and saying, hey, I'm having this webinar.
Yeah.
I hope that that's kind of giving you some information to say, okay, now I think I need an email list. Okay, You've convinced me I need an email list. All right, so how do you get one set up? Okay, so the first thing that you need is you need an email service provider. Okay, and this is not like your Google or your Outlook. This is a service that will hold all of the people that sign up for your list and will send out professional looking emails for you.
Yeah.
So we use a service called Aweber. There is a lot of people start out with MailChimp because MailChimp is free.
I believe for the first 500.
Yeah. MailChimp will let you have, actually, I think it's 2,000 subscribers and 12,000 emails a month that you can send out. That's a really good place to start because that'll let you build up your list, right, while you're kind of working out the kinks with your list. The reason that we use Aweber is because we had gotten to the point where we were looking for, there were some things that we wanted our service to be able to do.
Yeah.
One of those is autoresponders. An autoresponder is an email or a sequence of emails that go out when somebody signs up for your list. So they go out, somebody puts in their email, they get a number of emails automatically just for joining.
All my emails for my other thing are all autoresponders. They all start in the same sequence no matter when they join. Right.
So the nice thing with that is that if you have, we said deliver value, right? This is going to automatically start delivering value to people. And so when we were looking at when we were looking at services, we could have stayed with MailChimp and paid the fee for that, or for about the same amount of money, we could have gone to Aweber.
Mm-hmm.
And Aweber just had some additional features that we really liked.
Mm.
When you're looking for a service, you need to look at deliverability rates.
Yeah.
Okay. And what that means is when your emails are sent out, what is the likelihood that they're going to end up in somebody's spam box?
Yeah.
One of the reasons we went with Aweber is because it had a higher inbox landing rate.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the major problems with MailChimp is because it's free for the first 2,000. A lot of people will start the email list there because they go, oh, it's free. And besides having to do some of the other steps manually, what ends up happening is the people who sign up sometimes are nefarious and they're just trying to maybe funnel people into another list or they use it for questionable means, which forces MailChimp to get more and more tough on its terms of service.
Right. The other thing that we were looking for in an email service provider is we have a lot of affiliate relationships with other companies, including Aweber.
Mm-hmm.
After we started using it, we looked to see if they had an affiliate program, and they did. With MailChimp, you cannot put affiliate links in your email.
At all.
And just so you know, I'll say this now since we're talking about affiliates. It is against Amazon's terms of service to put Amazon affiliate links in your emails.
They do not consider that
online.
Online, yeah.
So, you can, and no matter who you go with, you can't put Amazon links.
Mm-hmm.
Some email service providers will not let you put affiliate links at all in your emails. I know that MailChimp recently said that they were cracking down on a lot of online businesses.
Yeah.
Especially if, they think that you are like a get rich quick type of thing. And so a lot of people that are marketing, how to use Facebook ads to build your business and how to do things to build your business are actually getting dinged by MailChimp. So the nice thing with Aweber is because it's an all paid service. They don't have a free version. They are pretty picky. I mean, I know we had to fill out like an application sort of in order to be able to use their service. They wanted to check our numbers and how long our websites were around. And so, they have good quality people that are using their service and it really helps with deliverability.
Yeah.
Once you have your email service set up, you need ways for people to opt in.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of different ways that you can do this. So if you go to smallbizlife.com, you'll notice that at the top of the page, there is an email sign-up box.
Yeah.
Right at the top of the page. And that's a good place to put it because if, when people are coming onto the site, that's the first thing that they see when they scroll down. You can also, there are widgets that you can have to allow people to sign up. So like a widget is one of those things in the sidebar if you have a WordPress site.
Yeah.
Okay, you can put a widget for people to sign up. There are plugins that will allow you to put signups at the bottom of every post. So when somebody reads through your content and they're like, wow, that was really good. And they'll say, oh, wait, I can sign up for their email list. You can do pop-ups. And pop-ups are kind of controversial because some people really like them and some people don't like them. And most visitors don't like them. And it's really funny because people complain about pop-ups, but every single study, and it's really funny because this has worked for our websites too, they have the highest conversion rate of any other sign up. Now, there are some ways that you can do pop-ups intelligently.
Which helps a lot. So one thing I'm a really big fan of is I am a fan of exit intent pop-ups. And what that does is it will only pop up when the person starts to scroll up towards the top of their browser. It basically, when the software that's running the pop-up thinks that they are intending to leave your site. Yeah.
And so at that point, it'll come up, it'll show your email opt-in and allows people to sign up. You can also put settings on that it'll only pop up once every 30 days. So it'll put, a cookie on their computer, or you can have it do, once every 24 hours. So if they come back to your site multiple times, it's not going to bug them, but you have those settings in place.
Now, I know a lot of you right now like, that sounds technically difficult to do. or I'm going to have to go find a service that's really expensive to be able to start that kind of stuff on my WordPress site. Absolutely not true. I believe the name of the plugin is called SumoMe, and it is a base plugin for the AppSumo people, which once again, if you want to see a good newsletter in action and one that actually seems to pull off multiple calls of action within one, just amazing. But they get really good deals, and we bought a lot of stuff through them because we get really good deals on really good stuff. And that's the value they provide their newsletter. But back to the SumoMe, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. It is something you can essentially for free put on your website. They sneak in a little bit of their branding unless you pay for them to remove it, which is a little blue crown that shows up at the top of your site. And they have stuff like pop-up bars at the top that are intelligent, pop-up boxes, which Kristen was just talking about, that people don't like, but you can set to have exit intent, and you can do all of those things she just said that you can do.
And it's really easy to
set up. And when you have a service like Aweber, all you have to do is, you go to Aweber, they have a form designer. You can create the forms there, and you can either cut and paste them directly into this, or you can actually very easily edit your own.
And actually with SumoMe, you actually tell them you use Aweber, and then you log into Aweber, and it creates the connection between the two.
Yeah.
So there's no code involved. There's no copy and pasting. You just tell them, hey, I use Aweber, and that's it. And then you can design what the pop-up looks like.
And I've speed tested out because I'm very picky on plugins when it comes to speed effect. And it doesn't really seem to slow down the loading of the pages.
That's great. I'm a huge fan of that company. They do a really good job. Like Jeff said, if you want to see like really good marketing emails, theirs are phenomenal.
And if you're trying to get better at marketing, a lot of the products that they will get you sometimes for free, sometimes for much lower cost than the actual product, they're worth checking out.
Yeah. I mean, we just bought something from them probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that it was an email signature designer and creates like the most amazing email signatures. You can even feed in your latest blog post,
your latest podcast episode
automatically. Yep. Has links to all your social media. It's great because I've probably had it for about a week and a half now. And I can't tell you how many people have responded back asking about my email signature.
And if you don't believe it, go sign up for our email newsletter.
Yeah.
I don't know if it shows up in the actual email newsletters, but if you actually respond to Kristen and ask her a question, or just say, hey, I want to see your email signature, she can just reply it back and you can check it out. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it's really nice. We're both using it. So yeah, I'll put a link to AppSumo and SumoMe and all the products we talk about in this episode. We'll make sure that they're available on smallbizlife.com in the show notes for episode 27, because we are going to talk about a lot of tools and stuff today. Another way that you can, especially if you're a speaker, this might be a really good option for you. There are services that are called text to ad.
Yeah.
And what it does is it gives you know those little text codes that you see all over the place? It's like a 5-digit, send a text to this.
Yeah.
There are services that will actually add people to your email list if they text a code to a certain number. I know one of those services is called Lead Digits. It's by Lead Pages. But there are a number of other services out there that do the same thing. And so if you're a speaker, that will allow you, like at the end of your presentation, say, hey, if you want a copy of my slides, hey, if you want, this piece of value that I'm giving out only to people that are attending this conference, text, conference to, 5-digit code and you'll automatically get it. So that's another way. So one of the nice things with Aweber actually has a cell phone app and a tablet app. So if you are at a conference and you're talking to somebody and they say, hey, I'd love to be on your email list, I can open up an app on my phone, type their email list, their email address in, and it will add them to my list. And I don't even have to have connection.
Yes.
It'll store them.
Bandwidth. Nope.
It'll store them until I get to a location where I have Wi-Fi, and then it'll upload them to the site. So that's a really cool option as well. So you got to kind of think about your business and how these tools can help you. There, even if you have, if you're a brick and mortar business and you want to collect emails through your sales process, there's a product that's called Zapier that will take an email address from something like QuickBooks or Xero when you add a new customer in, and it can add them to your email list for you. You just want to make sure that you ask for the person's permission. Can I add you to my email list? Because there's a piece of legislation that's called CAN-SPAM. Spam. And basically, this is the law that governs email communications and email spam. In order to add someone to your list, you must have their permission to do so. So I was on Facebook the other day, and someone had suggested in a group that for somebody to start their email list, that they should just download all their contacts from one of their social media channels and put them in their email list. You can't do that. That's a violation of CAN-SPAM.
Yep.
Okay. You can't buy emails and put them on your email list. That's a violation of CAN-SPAM. Now, if you're working with a partner and the partner is willing to email their own list for you and tell people about you and send them, to your website so that they can opt in for something that you're giving away, that's fine.
Or in theory, and you'll see this in a lot of the bigger newsletters, when you sign up, there will be a checkbox that will give them the permission to share your essentially email address with third parties or their vendors. And some people do that. I'm not a huge fan of that. Like, I would never do that to my list. But if you have partners that do that, in theory, they can give you the email addresses.
But most email service providers, that would be a violation of their terms of service.
Yeah.
So even if somebody gives you their list and says, oh yeah, I can give it to third party people, most service providers won't let you do it.
All right, take it back then.
If you only understand two things, right, about email law, know that you can't buy lists and you can't be given lists. You can't just put people on an email list. You need affirmative consent. Okay. Which is smart anyway. Right.
Because one, your email list reputation in part is the server it's on, but the other part of it is how often do they click through the links that you send in there? How much of the email do they read? And how much of them are never open? Those things will actually affect your personal email reputation to the service providers, which helps get you into their inbox.
Right. And the other thing too is that if people mark you as spam, there are email service providers that will shut you down because of it. So you have to be really careful. You want people that are going to read your emails. You don't want people to just put on your list and sit there.
Yeah.
Because it affects your open rates, it affects your spam rating, and God forbid somebody says that you're a spammer.
Yeah.
Because when somebody unsubscribes from your list, they can say why they're unsubscribing. And if they say, I never signed up for this list, that can get you banned. And then you'll lose your email list. So, you want to be really careful. Some services offer something that's called a single opt-in, and some services offer double opt-in, and some services offer both.
Yeah.
A single opt-in means that the person has to put in their email address once, they're on the list. A double opt-in means that they have to put their email address in on your website, and then they will receive an email that they have to confirm that they want to be on the list. Now, you're a big fan of double opt-in.
I'm a big fan of double opt-in. I'm a big fan of asking for a little more than I'm also a fan of asking for a little bit more information than just the email address. Not that I use it. I don't try and personalize using the names in any emails because most people understand that they're sent out in mass, even though it feels like it's written to them. I think it looks cheesy if you put their name in there, but it'll actually reduce the number of people who sign up for my email list because I ask for the name.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the idea is if you're not willing to actually put in your first name or put in blah, 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 because you don't really want me to know your name, if you're not willing to do that and submit your email address, then I don't want you on my list.
Yeah. And there's arguments both ways too, because if you put in, Jeff said, you have a higher opt-in rate if you don't use name and email. But there's also a lot of evidence that shows if you do personalize the emails, if you put the person's name in the email, there's a much higher open rate. So.
I don't think so. I think it's old.
Okay. Well, I know that now people are starting to put the name in the subject.
But even that, though, I think people are getting a lot of spam with their names in them now. I think the bigger thing is a headline, just like for a blog post. So I don't do that. I get usually between 60 to 80% open rates on all my emails, and I get a lot of click throughs as well too. The biggest thing, I think it's the subject line has to draw them in, and you want them to know it's from you, and that's why it's like I use my email address. My actual email address with my name in it. It's not even a fake one. It's actually mine, as people know who've replied to me, because I encourage them to do that. Because it makes them more engaged with me, which also helps my email response rate.
Right. Exactly. So I'm also a fan of double opt-in, especially because I've seen there sometimes, when people, and I don't really understand this, but sometimes when people get angry at other people, they just subscribe them to stuff. They're like bots that will subscribe you to hundreds of different email lists. And a double opt-in will stop them from getting fully on your email list. Whereas a single opt-in, they would just be on.
Yeah.
The thing with double opt-in is you have to make sure that when they sign up for when they put in their email address, you have either in the email sign up box or in the thank you box that comes up next. And please have a thank you box. It drives me, and most like SumoMe will do this automatically for you. You can sign up what you want the thank you box to say. I've gone to websites and signed up for email lists, and there's nothing that happens that lets me know that it actually went through.
If nothing else, it's a verification that the action happened. And you should be thankful for people who actually want to belong to your email list.
Right. So you can have, in the thank you box, you want to say, please check your email to confirm. You will not be on my list until you confirm, through your email. If you don't see it, check your spam.
And I've even seen really good ones too, where they actually have screenshots of like a Gmail account, checking, little pictures showing how to check your Gmail account.
But especially too with Gmail, if you have the tabs turned on for social and promotion, I have those turned off.
Yeah.
I hate them. They drive me crazy. But what happens is, you might show up on the promo tab and not in the inbox, or the social tab and not in the inbox. So you have to make sure that you tell people, check your if you use Gmail, check your promotions tab. Check your spam box. It will come, with most services, it comes within a minute. It's instantaneous. Yeah. So, but unless you tell people that, they're not going to look for the email, and your conversion rate on your double opt-in will be very low. My conversion on my double opt-in is over 95%. On all of my sites, I've never had a huge issue with that.
I've never had an issue with people once they've signed up going all the way. I'm sure I've had maybe a couple, but I can't remember any.
And as your email list grows and people engage with you and people click through links and people respond, I know with Aweber, the better your open rate, the better server you're on. You kind of get on a server with other people that have equal open rates. Yeah. And, your delivery rate, you're less likely to go in spam. You're less likely to go in the promotions tab.
And I think very shortly after we started, we stopped having people like say, I didn't receive the email.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a little bit of an issue early on, and always assume that it's possible, no matter how big your email list gets and how popular it is and how unspammy it is, it could happen to you.
Right. So the last thing that you need is you need something called a lead magnet. This is sometimes called a freemium. It's a giveaway. It's an opt-in value. You want to give away something, and we're not talking about physical product. You want to give away content that is just for your email list. And we said before, if you have that automated opt-in, you have the automated autoresponders, this would go out automatically.
And it's also a good way too, like, as you start getting some of these built up, you could actually even, use it as a scarcity thing to try and drive people more quickly to your list. Hey, this is a new thing I'm doing right now. For the next 30 days, if you sign up for my email list by August 31st, then you will get this special item.
Right. Or you can say, hey, I've written this, and on a certain date, it's going to go up on Amazon for sale. But if you want to get it free, sign up for my email list. You can put up, small guides up on Amazon, and then have, give them away to your email list. There's a lot of different things you can do. These don't have to be gigantic. No. This could be, 5 ways to do something, 10 ways to do something. It could be a worksheet for people to fill out.
I kind of think of them as the things you would sell for 99 cents on Amazon.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you have a huge library of books, maybe it was an older book that you did years ago.
Right. So, basically it has to be something of value that your avatar wants. Right. Something that's enough value that go, okay, well, I want that. I'm willing to give you my email address for that. If you're a technology company, it could be, get exclusive updates on, whatever technology it is, their updates. It could be
a free report on your website's performance.
Right. Tools to improve your page speed. There's lots of different things that you can do. Once you have that, then you want to advertise that in your sign up box.
And I just want to give a quick note here. Don't go out and do like an opt-in sweepstakes. These are popular. And I'm not saying don't do them. There are great ones to do. But what you don't want to do is give away something unrelated to what you're trying to push through your brand. It's like, it would be really cool if I could get a free, Xbox 360 122, the next, Xbox that comes out for free. And you could almost definitely get my email address by offering me a chance to win a free Xbox. But if what your site is talking about is how to make flower arrangements, I'm done with your emails from that point. I've signed up. I'm done with you.
And that's the thing too, is if you do a giveaway and then you have massive unsubscribes after the giveaway is over, that's going to hurt your email rating.
Or maybe they don't unsubscribe. Maybe they just don't look at them.
Right. They stop opening them, or they mark them as spam and make them go away. You have to provide content that is related to your business. So think about the types of needs, right? We've talked about this before. What does your customer need? Turn it into a short guide or a short checklist or a short worksheet. It doesn't have to be, we're not talking 30 pages, 40 pages, couple pages, something that gives enough value. You could do videos if you want. I'm more of a video audio person than I am, written content. If you want to do a short video series, you could do that and give that away. You could give away, an Excel spreadsheet. You could give away a Word document. If it's something that your client's going to want to edit, there's lots of different ways you can do this.
And one of my suggestions is, if you give away an Excel document or a Word document, always provide a PDF option. It's readable. and usable for them, usually a lot easier than they might not own the software that you do. So if it's some form of document, always offer it as in PDF as well as the form that you think they should use it in.
Or what you can do, in addition to the PDF, I like the PDF idea.
Mm-hmm.
You can also say, hey, you can upload this to Google Docs,
Mm-hmm.
or you can upload this in Google Spreadsheets. So give multiple options if you're doing a document like that.
Let them choose.
Okay. All right. So now you've got your setup, you've got your email service, ways for people to opt in, you've got your lead magnet. The last piece that you need to understand, do not sell 100% of the time.
No.
If you are just bombarding people with sales messages and you are not providing valuable content,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to go away.
Or if at the end of every bit of valuable content, there's a hard sell for your latest book, not going to work.
Mm-hmm. And there are times where your call to action will always be a sale. Like if you're in a launch sequence
Mm-hmm.
for a new product, but what you want to do is you want to take your email list, you want to get them to sign up for the email list that's just for the launch. So that if they're not interested in receiving the launch content, they won't.
Or maybe, you're trying to push them into, instead of a hard sale, maybe it's to push them into the Facebook, a group that you've built or the page that you have, to give them multiple options on how to consume your content. Because the more places you give them to consume your content, the more likely they are to consume your content.
Right. The point of your email list is to create raving fans.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the point. And then, every once in a while, you're going to sell something.
Yeah.
But not in every single email.
Mm-hmm.
You want to deliver great value. You want to have one call to action per email. And like we said, those aren't all going to be sales pitches. If you're on my email list, sometimes my call to action is, whatever I'm talking about and saying, hey, you need to do this. So last week I sent out an email saying, focus on small things, right? Not everything has to be, oh my God, I have to revamp my entire website, or I need to get 1,000 people on my email list, or I need to make 500 sales calls. Let's do 2 sales calls.
Yeah.
Let's revamp something on the website. Let's put in an email opt-in box.
Make it one of your next items.
Right. And so my call to action at the bottom of the email was, what is one thing that you can do today? Click reply on this email.
Yep.
And let me know what it's going to be. Or you can join our Facebook group and post it there. But I want to hear from you.
And one quick design warning, and I'm actually kind of a villain in this. There's this old school notion of what an email newsletter is supposed to look like. And you probably got one 10 years ago and you're like, wow, it looks like a website. And so now you're sitting back there going, I don't have time to design that. And if I use those templates, everyone else uses the same templates. That is not going to work. The great thing is they're showing that actual simple things that look like emails that provide good content are responded to better than fancy looking newsletter emails.
Right. And that's the thing. If you're on our email list, you'll see that there's a header at the top that's, basically the Small Biz Life brand. And then I just write an email.
Yeah.
It's not fancy. There aren't boxes. Sometimes I'll put in a picture. Usually I don't.
I'm even thinking about just putting my branding to the bottom of mine and just make it smaller and say, hey, this is from me to you.
Yeah.
Maybe put my email signature. I'll figure out how to do that.
I know you can export the code for it.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be crazy. If you get my emails, most of my emails, they're not super long.
Nope.
I'm just trying to get you to think about your business. Those are the kinds of emails, if you're in tech and there's something going on in tech, shoot off a quick email that says, hey, be aware of this, change your password, those are the kind of emails that people go, oh, thank you so much. You're on the ball and I'm not thinking about these things. And those are the kinds of things that are valuable.
Yeah. And I don't need this for my other brand, but there's no like broadcast that, oh, elves are now tainted in your world. Get elves out of your world. So there isn't really a lot of that, but definitely like she's saying, there's options beyond the autoresponders where you can broadcast out Aweber now has a new thing called campaigns, which makes it easier to do what they call list segmenting, to where you can have, this is my emails that I'm trying to sell you this product or this book. These are the things I'm trying to do this for or that for. And then you can do broadcasts and say, hey, let's go to a whole bunch of people and do this.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like a lot of these services, you can just do basic things like send emails, or you can do a lot of really cool high level stuff with them, but you don't have to.
Start simple. Start with that weekly or bi-weekly. Just be consistent, unlike me.
Yeah. And that's another thing. And this is something I've been terrible about. I actually confessed this to my email list. I was really inconsistent with my email list. Now I'm trying to send out an email once a week. I've done this for a couple weeks now. Mm-hmm. Don't say I'm going to email them every day. First of all, it's probably going to drive them crazy. It's going to be too much. And they'll probably
opt out. Yeah.
But set up a schedule so that you're, maybe it's monthly, because that's what you can handle right now. Do it every month, and that's it. If you can handle weekly, weekly's great. Mm-hmm. If you can't, do bi-weekly, do monthly. Just be consistent. Mm-hmm. Remember that the purpose of this is to build relationships with people.
And if you're not doing that, you're creating a disservice not only for yourself and potentially not getting that sale later on, but you're disservicing them who actually ask you to send them stuff.
I think a lot of times online, we forget proper etiquette. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't walk into a room and say, hi, my name's Kristen, and I have this product. Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it?
That's when we all say to ourselves, oh, I hate sales.
That's right. That's when we say we hate sales. You go to an event, right? You meet people, you talk about them, you talk about your their business, your business. Mm-hmm. It's not instant sales pitch.
No.
Right? Maybe sometimes you'll go to lunch and you'll kind of talk about ways that you could help them. And then, again, we talk about 7 touches, right? And then after you've had a couple conversations, you make a pitch. Mm-hmm. That's what good salespeople do.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we get online, we forget those rules. Mm-hmm. And we just say, can I sell you something? Can I?
We forget that it's people on the other side.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. I think we do. I think we forget that it's not just an email. The email's going to a person, or the Facebook ad is going to a person.
Maybe the way to think about it is it's your best friend who was the first person who signed up for your email list, the first person who liked your page and your group and your Twitter account, and he retweets everything, he or she retweets everything that you've ever put out there, and they share your content all the time, which I don't have a friend like that. Even though I do have a lot of friends who do it for me, just not every time.
Yeah.
But, think of it as it's going to them. Write it to them. Mm-hmm. Try and keep it genderless, because you don't know the gender of the person on the other side unless you're strictly targeting a gender. But maybe think of them as your friend that you're talking to. And it might make it easier to write, less pressure, and you won't feel like it needs to go on forever because you're just talking to a friend. And your friend will be like, shut up, I have to go to work.
I think a lot of times when I'm writing content, I think about the people in our group. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I say, is this something that would be interesting to them? Is this something that they need today?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I write content.
I saw someone talk about something similar to this in the group, or just knowing the people in the group. And that's the great thing with the group, is you get to build up a lot of intimacy quickly, either through seeing them interact with each other or interacting directly with them. They can go, oh, we should cover this in a topic for the show or the newsletter.
And that's the thing. I think when they start thinking about email, it's the same thing with doing a podcast or starting a blog. You're like, mm-hmm. My God, how am I going to come up with all this content? It's easier than you think. Jeff and I, last weekend, we were challenged to do 52 weeks worth of content. Yeah. And we were like, oh my God, that's going to be impossible. And we sat down and we wrote down 52 topics.
Did during dinner, and it was a delicious dinner.
Yeah, we went out to dinner, and in the time it took between our salads and our dinner arriving, mm-hmm. we came up with 52 ideas.
Which is lucky, because it was Italian food and we would have not been able afterwards.
Yeah, Italian coma would have been bad for that. But, it's really not that hard. And when you're passionate about what you're doing, it's not that hard to come up with topics. So in the next week, if you don't have an email list, here's my call to action, right? We don't typically call them calls to action, but I want to show you what one looks like. So my call to action this week is that I want you to set up an email list. Okay. Decide, start, if you don't have a budget for it, start with MailChimp. Get it signed up, get an opt-in up. You can even put one on your Facebook page. It can be, there's call to action on your Facebook page, and you can decide what you want that to be. One of the options is email sign up.
Yep.
Put it there, get it up on your website, start building a list.
Then hound your friends and family, get them there first so you don't feel like you're talking to no one. Go to our group, ask people, hey, I'm starting a list on this, let them know, and you might get some signups. It'll be slow at first. It starts to seem to pick up around 35.
Yeah, that's kind of what I found is like 30, 35 is kind of a barrier. And once you break that, it starts growing quickly.
Yeah, because especially you've run out of friends and family who are willing to do it and who are still talking to you. So now you're getting these people who you really don't know. And but just think of them as the same friends and family that started it off.
Even if there's nobody on the list right now, write an email sequence. Start writing stuff. Even if you're talking to 3 people. Start getting, because the more you write emails, the better at it you become.
Yeah. And let's say you're like, well, I'll wait because my website's starting in like 6 months. I'm still working on content for my website. No excuse.
Yeah, start an email list. Because what the cool thing, though, is when you build an email list, you can walk them through the process of what you're doing to start your business. You can, when you have logos that you want somebody to look at, send them to the email list. Say, hey, what do you think of these?
You turn them into mini contests. It's a great way to start feeling out your audience before you're ready. And maybe you're starting to realize that, wait, they seem really interested in this thing that I wasn't really going to do much with. You might learn stuff, and you'll do this all the time as you create content. You're going to sit there and go, oh, this is great. And you get crickets.
Right.
And then, the next one that you're like, we just kind of pushed that one out there was mediocre. Everyone loves.
Before we had gotten the idea for Small Biz Life, we knew we wanted to do something with small businesses, but we weren't really sure what. And so we bought the domain Breakaway From Your Desk, which now forwards to Small Biz Life. And I just put up a very simple opt-in page that said, hey, I'm going to email you once a week with business tips and tax tips. And within 2 weeks, I had gotten almost 100 people to sign up.
Because think what the difference in your launch will mean too. If let's say your list is only 100 people, and you launch your website to start going in to sell your new product, that's 100 people that you would not have had.
Right, and that's the thing. And guys, there was nothing on this site other than I'm going to send you stuff. And I'll send you content to help you grow your business.
And don't get caught up in I'm not sure exactly how this fits into my theme. It could be, I'm really struggling figuring out how to work this email list software. It could be, wow, this website is either easier or harder. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And so you can actually, in a non-whiny way, share your struggles with the list. It'll help build the relationship.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, it's like they'll see that you're authentic. They'll see you're a real person and you have the same struggles that they have.
And you're not hiring someone for $5 an hour to write a copy for you.
So if you have questions about this, you can reach out to us via email if you're on our newsletter list. You can reach out to us through our website. You can join the Facebook group and ask questions there. But we'd love to help you with this if you've got questions, because I think email lists are the most powerful way to build your business.
And I'll put this guarantee to you. If you are a member of our Facebook group and you are struggling and afraid and can't get anyone to join your newsletter, send it to me in the Facebook group on Saturday.
Yep. Social share Saturday. Yep.
Tag me to it and make sure that I'm not off drinking somewhere. And I will join I will guarantee you at least one person.
And I will join it as well. So you have your first 2 subscribers right Excellent. There. All right. So we'll make that commitment to you. we will be your first 2 subscribers if you're worried that no one will subscribe. We're so glad that you listened this week. I hope that you found the information that we provided valuable to you. And hopefully, we'll see you next week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Life. If you enjoyed the show, please take a few minutes to rate and review the show on iTunes or Stitcher. Please visit smallbizlife.com to view today's show notes, take this week's poll, join the Facebook community, follow us on Twitter, or submit a question for the mailbag. Support the show by checking the resources page or by going to smallbizlife.com/Amazon whenever you shop.
This was Small Biz Life. This was Small Biz Life.